All right, let's dive into this. Personality development with, well, someone who had some really interesting things to say about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Swami Vivekananda.
Ah,
We
interesting.
got some excerpts from his work, and we're going to see what kind of practical wisdom we can pull out of this.
Nice.
It's like a master class in unleashing your inner dynamo,
That sounds great.
all thanks to this guy, right?
Okay.
So this whole idea of personality development, he wasn't really talking about superficial changes.
Right.
He was really going for like inner strength.
Yeah.
Like real influence radiating outwards. And he had this phrase for it, the real man.
I love that. The real man.
It's so much more than just looks or anything.
Yeah, it's deeper. It's like developing the head, heart, and hand together.
Yeah, in harmony, right?
That's it.
And he uses this analogy, like a dynamo of power.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Raw energy just waiting to be harnessed. That's what he's talking about.
Exactly. And to tap into that dynamo, you need to understand how your mind works.
Right, okay.
And he used this really cool analogy to explain this, like a chariot.
The chariot. Yeah, that's a good one.
Right.
It's so helpful. Okay, so picture this. You got this chariot. You've got a charioteer. He's trying to steer it towards their destination,
Mm-hmm.
And the horses pulling the chariot, they represent our senses.
Right. Always pulling us in different directions.
Exactly. And then the reins are our minds. They're trying to hold those impulses back,
Keep them in check.
Yeah, keep them in check. And the intellect.
Mm.
The intellect is the charioteer.
Yeah, the skilled charioteer who's trying to navigate, right?
Yeah, using wisdom to figure out the path.
Using wisdom. And the most important part, the soul is the master of that whole chariot,
Okay.
It's the true self that's guiding the entire journey. So think about your own life. Have you ever felt pulled in all these different directions?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Like those unruly horses? Were your senses in control? Or was your intellect, your charioteer, able to make a conscious choice?
Oh, that's good. That's a good question.
Right. That's the power that Vivekananda was talking about.
That's powerful. It really shows you how important a disciplined mind is.
Yeah.
And the intellect, too. You got to have both to reach any goal.
Totally. Because if we let our senses run wild, we'll end up who knows where.
Exactly. Lost, probably. Okay. So to understand this even better, he digs a little deeper,
Yeah.
He talks about these different bodies or layers that we're made of.
Okay.
It gets really interesting here. He uses these specific terms like Stula Sharira
Right.
for what he calls the gross body, and then
Yeah.
Sushma Sharira for the fine body.
Right.
Yeah. And it might sound a little technical, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So he starts with the gross body, and that's just our physical body, right?
Yeah, the part we see that's constantly changing.
Yeah. It grows, it ages, and eventually,
Right. It's the most obvious part of us.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the fine body, which is, it's subtler.
Yes, much more subtle.
Yeah. And it's made of things like our energy, our mind.
Our intellect, our ego.
Yeah, all that. And this part, this layer, it sticks around a lot longer.
It does. And it shapes our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, everything.
Right, exactly. But here's the key takeaway.
Okay.
He reminds us that we're not defined by these layers, right? Like our true nature, it's not our physical body or even our mind.
Exactly.
He points to what he calls the Atman. It's like the true self,
Right.
the divine core that's permanent. It's always there.
Yeah. That's a really profound idea.
It is so powerful. It's like this whole idea that our physical and mental states, they don't define us,
Right.
There's something deeper inside, something that doesn't change.
Yeah.
And realizing that's incredibly freeing.
Oh, absolutely. True freedom, according to Vivekananda, comes from connecting with this unchanging self. Yeah. It's not about just giving in to every desire or avoiding challenges. It's about recognizing that we're more than our experiences,
Yeah. That's huge, man. That's a huge shift in perspective.
It is. And it makes you question this whole idea that pleasure is the goal,
Oh, yeah.
Like, is that really it?
Right. Like if you're always chasing pleasure.
He was saying that can actually lead to misery.
Yeah, I could see that.
He was more about knowledge, not just like book knowledge, but the wisdom that you get from your experience. All of it, good and bad.
That makes sense.
Right. He even said, he suggests that difficult experiences often teach you way more than the good ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. It's like when you think back, those tough times, they stick with you,
Right. You learn from them.
Yeah. They teach you more than just coasting through life.
Exactly. You know what's interesting? He had some pretty insightful stuff to say about negative emotions.
Yeah. Like what kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, it's not just about feeling bad, you know? It's about the ripple effect. How those emotions, they really affect you, but they go outward too.
Oh, okay.
So there's this twofold danger he talks about.
Okay, yeah.
First, when you get all wrapped up in those negative emotions, anger, hatred, fear, whatever, you're actually more open to those bad vibes, those negative thoughts. It's like you're lowering your defenses when you're in that state, more vulnerable, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
And then secondly, those negative emotions, they don't just sit there.
Right.
They create even more negativity that spreads out and affects everyone around you.
Oh, I see. So it's like, it's contagious almost.
It really is. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
But here's the good news. We don't have to just sit there and take it, you know?
Right.
No, not at all. Vivekananda, he really stressed learning to control that chitta. That's what he called the mind stuff.
Oh, the mind stuff. Okay.
Right. Like, don't just react to everything that happens around you without thinking.
Yeah. That's easier said than done sometimes, though.
Sure. It is. But think of it like building a pause button, you know?
Pause button.
Between feeling and reacting. Takes practice, but so worth it.
Yeah, you can see that.
Now get this. He was all about taking responsibility. For your own life, I mean.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's big. Can be kind of intimidating.
It can. But think about it. It's actually super empowering.
Really?
Yeah. He knew that seeing how we shape our own reality, that's not about beating yourself up.
Right.
It's realizing you've got the power to change things by changing how you think, how you act, how you react. You're not a victim. You're the author, you know?
I've been trying to think about that more lately, yeah. It is really easy to blame everything else when things aren't going well. You know?
It is. It's so easy. But Vivekananda's like, hold on, you've got a choice in how you handle this.
Right. Okay. I like that. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about work for a second.
Right.
This guy had some pretty unique views on that, too.
Yeah.
He was big on the idea that we're supposed to work, but not like slaves to the system, you know?
I can see that.
No slaving away for some external reward. He drew a line between selfish, slave work, the kind that's all about what you want, versus work that comes from love and freedom.
That's an interesting distinction, yeah. I guess it makes you think about your own reasons for doing what you do.
Absolutely. So what kind of worker are you? You driven by that external pressure or by love, by freedom?
That's a good question.
Right. And you know, the cool thing is he connects this idea of selfless service with success.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, he thought real success doesn't come from being selfish. It comes from wanting to help others, contribute to their well-being.
I always struggle with the idea of success. You know, like we're told to be so focused on our own goals, be the best, climb that ladder.
Yeah, that's the usual message, right?
But this feels different, like a different path to that.
He saw it differently, definitely. Those who are always chasing personal gain, he thought they end up empty.
Oh, wow.
Unsatisfied, like their world shrinks because it's all about their own needs, their own desires. But when you shift your focus, start serving others, that's when your world expands.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's like connecting to something bigger than yourself.
Makes sense. And it ties in so well with what he said about love.
Oh, yeah, totally. Remember, he saw love as a force, not just a feeling, but like this powerful tool for change.
Right, like a superpower almost.
He was passionate about it. He said, and I love this quote, "It is love that pays. It is character that cleaves its way through adamantine walls of difficulties. Love, especially when you mix it with strength and courage, he believed it could conquer anything."
It's not just romantic love, though, right?
Nope. He was talking about cultivating that deep compassion for everyone, especially those who are struggling.
So that's where his message gets really bold. Like, he flat out said weakness is death.
He did. In any form, weakness is death. And strength, that's life. He wanted people to shed their fear, their insecurities, all the self-doubt, and embrace the power they have inside.
So, face your challenges head on, basically.
Exactly. With that spirit of determination, knowing you have what it takes to overcome them, don't just stand there, do something.
I like that. Do something.
And don't keep it to yourself. Spread that fearlessness, inspire others to be brave too. He wanted to create a ripple effect of courage.
That's awesome. Okay, so speaking of making a difference, he was also really into the idea of faith. Right?
Oh, huge believer in faith. In yourself and in something bigger.
Okay, so faith in yourself, why is that so important?
He knew that believing in yourself, that's the foundation. If you don't believe in yourself, who will?
Makes sense.
It's like a prerequisite, even for faith in God, he said.
I love that quote. Whatever you think, that you will be.
Oh.
So powerful.
It really is. It reminds us that we shape our own reality. Doubt yourself constantly, you'll probably hit those limits. Focus on your strengths, believe in your potential. Who knows what you can achieve? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, one way or another. It all begins with what you believe. Now, here's another shift. He was all about learning from others, but not blindly copying them. Be original, he said. Don't be a copycat.
I like that. Yeah, yeah. So, about freedom.
Yeah.
Vivekananda's take on that, it was a little different,
Oh, how so?
It wasn't just like, external circumstances.
Right.
He talked about freedom as like an inner state.
Okay.
True freedom, he said.
Yeah.
It meant rising above all that, like the ups and downs. you know?
Life's roller coaster.
Exactly. The pleasure, the pain, winning, losing. You got to find that stillness inside.
So he was saying those dualities are like illusions.
Yeah. Temporary,
Yeah.
they come and go. Real freedom's about not getting swept away by them.
Finding that center inside that can't be touched by anything outside.
Exactly. Like you realize you're not defined by all those things.
Your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, all temporary.
Right. Or something bigger, way bigger than that.
Yeah.
And when you tap into that strength, that's where real freedom is.
Yeah. Like an unshakable peace. You know who you are.
Powerful stuff. It makes you wonder, what would it take to actually experience that?
Yeah.
Like, how do we navigate all that life throws at us and stay centered?
That's the journey, right? Figuring that out. But he gives us something to work with. Remember that call to action? March on, he said.
Yeah. He wanted us to go for it with courage, never giving up on what we believe in, even when it gets tough.
He had this incredible belief in people. Like, we're all capable of growth, of changing for the better. Not just for ourselves, but to make the world better, too. It's like he's saying, don't just sit there, get out there and do something amazing.
So inspiring, right?
Yeah.
That interconnectedness, we lift ourselves, we lift everybody, live with purpose, share your gifts, make things more just, more compassionate. It's a beautiful vision.
It really is. And as we wrap up this dive into Vivekananda's wisdom, I want to leave you with this. What's that one idea, that one ideal that you're ready to pour your life into? What truly makes you come alive?
Hold on to that. Cultivate that inner dynamo. March on, be courageous, live with purpose. You've got this incredible power inside you. Go out there and make it happen.
That's a wrap for today's episode of Better Every Day. We hope you found some actionable insights to help you on your self-improvement journey. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on future deep dives. And if you're on YouTube, hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, small steps every day lead to big changes. See you next time.